ba American se mane education se kama ina define tawang gi hai kanda education se progressivist view the define tawrame learning by doing sidama belief tawrame aduga Indian context the higher ga koi Mahatma Gandhi na hai education is drawing out the best in the child and man mind, body and spirit higher. Introduction. Educational philosophy is the branch of practical philosophy concerned with the nature of education as well as the philosophical issues that can arise from educational theory and practice. Educational philosophy hierarchy book hangna ge hierarchy ma se practical philosophy ne applied philosophy ne ba. Kali the hierarchy education ki goals, aims, ideals, objectives ma'am say realize taunabagi damakta mana direction. It refers to the beliefs, values and principles that guide the educational policies, practices and goals of an individual, institution or society. Iman mandare aham bagase akoy karama process no hai matamda akoy knowledge se kana gomda bone teach towa nachoga akoy na receive tor pata sigi process se go na education hai na khangnai ba adu target education se combine no kai wai de no ko phangdoi se hai matamda through schools se gi phang bayai akoy na college se university se phang bayai nachoga any informal means sama de phangdu se ai ba now education se ko kai no khangam ni na matham da education se phangam madung da akoy na individual life da kari kana hang gai se ko yen se ba. Education develops human personality, self-confidence, reinforces our minds and thoughts, and strengthens our character and behavior towards others and prepares people for life experience. The stage that we apply first, the focus of this education reinforces our minds and thoughts. I said, sina hiding is the kind of reinforce and have a word set. Reinforce the hiding is the kind of a hana laser but knowledge set. She's the hand the hand back, high tareko. And highway actually educated over me maga, uneducated over me magasa. Uneducated over me do some knowledge lady laser miba. Adubu once the education is Pangtaragadi. She's the Maramuraga, a thinking process, a mind process that and a stroke in the high direct education is the Maramuraga. Then because of that, a self-confidence and the Alaba. Self-confidence has the high target. Avoid the side is how it has the behind it. It's an ICC book knowledge. Come in. I want to see book skills later. I want abilities later. High target. Avoid the it's had the trust and acceptance later. And the positive feelings are lack of avoid the self-confidence. Then self-confidence, high methods, avoid the control with them. Avoid the self-control of today. High avoid it's had it's not that has the haraga. We have to put me perspective. The control with self-control like the act over the yard education the farm is and the self-confidence like the then naturally personality then it strengthens our character and behavior so have me educated over me characters na education ki aim se kaino hai matamda once if you are educated education se phangdaragadi the right kind of education se phangdaragadi nang the good character like dabani nang character and behavior do effective oraga nang towards successful life amada lead tong na khodaga dam ne hai ko. Then coming to promising future, better employment and special status in society. And once educated or directly educated person through mana phanga even knowledge mag experience mag exploration mag struggle mag future hopeful future good and mag successful future the scene obviously no the better employment chance and then special status the society the status determine education attainment say kadai bogai re habisna is social recognition se phangeba and for example samsung hire da koi go ai ga chakaran tamner ba imana bi se het ai ngonda gi thaba am phangi matam da ai gi meeting da ma se do ai ngonda status hele habigi meeting se lai re ba that's my education attainment and find out then coming to information in various fields and masai education knowledge and experience family rabnina apoi education ke through lagi various fields da knowledge ma phange science or social science or law language any fields da apoi knowledge phange ba then morals manners and ethics and I say example hai jage ba and apoi angang am music education se phamu jo haina music school amna thado ge ba amana education law jo haina thado pa nga amana education se formal education se phang de bi yum angang am thambi re se ba adu taragadi school se thado ki matam da oza se tambi ra ko se just mo the sub documented knowledge kara mo impart of natte ba discipline tambi re angang se ma gi moral character manners myam se angang se tamala ka doine ba then si myam se tamam ni na ma society amada ethical behavior ma se angang se show to ngam me ba hagi morally ai utoi ba behavior se good or bad or bad se man cycle ngam me ba then education it tackles life challenges na apoi mo challenge ama period se ba educated over me amaga uneducated over me amaga khena ra se same challenge se da educated over me ke dore logical thinking ama kani ba man ki problem solving skill era kani on decision making power era kani then stress management se era kani ba ana mara mo raga am the same challenge se man irai lai na with a positive stand amaga loina na tackle ko bungam kani ba. Then coming to education promotes development and well-being of the community. I is educated with Aragadi, Masana Egel in the Mamigo, other than education knowledge spread Toraga, when the positive energy spread Toraga, then from the family, from the community to spread Toraniba. Then social integration and modernization. And educated about me and same behind that. Once educated with Aragadi, educated population, same Bakamata Aragadi, literate, population literate, I did even educated literacy Aragadi. Other Aragadi, skill weba or population skill population then because of the new technology and inventions the right sense of education the sense of unity me was a respect of beliefs, culture and custom respect of next. Good afternoon everyone. So let's talk about the function of the education for the national life. So as we all know that education is very important for the development of our society as well as our country, right? So the national development in terms of the socially or in terms of the political views the proper educated person and more development second point national integration is India religion unity diversity unity through education on belief different religion different give training for leadership socially politically take part education sense of leadership ideas develop. So to supply skilled workers, more educated people compulsory society country more prosperous all knowledge use or new ideas technology invent innovative way produce way country skill worker as compared to unskilled or skilled worker have for example any building any measurement has a more productive education so 5 point to promote social efficiency through education social adjustment socially adapt to the environment subordination of the private welfare to public welfare for example or just private all individual as a whole public welfare is important role for education. And then development of the ideas of the emotional integration sense of unity, sense of education. So in the innovation of social and civic duties, through education the person any individual rights on rights and then it helps to develop my own responsibility towards our society and then towards our national development important thing. So security of the culture and civilization. So only through education like school or colleges university or through the culture civilization next generation to generation propagation of the social feeling social adjustment society how to cope up with other people in the society had the through education. And to prepare a good citizen. Have the good citizen have the responsible over the own duty come the rights had side and more developed the prosperous idea of education which will make it so, to point is the social reformation and the progress. I believe education through the backward and then witness points is that progress education through the next topic.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be taking up on the objective of studying educational philosophy. Educational philosophy helps us to achieve certain goals and objectives in our educational system. It also helps us to achieve certain techniques, methods in teaching learning process. So now let us look at some of the objectives of studying educational philosophy. One, to find out the solution for various educational issues. The purpose of studying educational philosophy is to make education according to the need-based life in society. 3. To produce better citizens for fostering democratic attitude. One of them in the educational practices. 6. To expand our knowledge and experience and implement them in the educational practice. 7. To bring out all-round personality development in child and prepare him to stand on his own feet. 8. To make education flexible in order to achieve goals of a country. National integration, international understanding, global cultural, political, and economical change in society. 10. To determine the aim of human life, aim of survival.
Good afternoon, everyone. Now, we have already understood and discussed the functions of educational for individuals and nationals, and also we have understood objectives. Now we shall discuss about the stuff of studying educational philosophy. First of all, as we already know the educations and its values. Now, aims and ideals of educational philosophy. Here, education critically evaluates the different aims and ideals of education. High education philosophy contemporary education ideals aims different philosophers different times arguments next please. These are character buildings, man-making, harmonious human development, preparation for human adult life, development of citizenships, utilizations of leisure, training for civic life, training for international living, achieving social and national integration, scientific and technological development, education for all, equalizing educational opportunities, strengthening democratic political order, and human source development. Next, please. Now, these and other aims of education presented by educational thinkers in different times and climes are scrutinized and evaluated. Thus, philosophies of education critically evaluates different aims and ideals of the education to arrive at the contemporary situations. Next, please. Interpretations of human nature. How do these philosophers interpret the human natures? A philosopher pictures the natures of human perspectives from different angles to define normatives and science principles. Example, in a higher non-violence, who we consider, we come into play in our mind the philosophies of Gandhi's. There is one normative, and we also learn the different sciences, behavioral sciences, principles, which are being a normative for our philosophical viewpoints. This philosophical pictures, therefore, is more broad. Education is quite related with knowledge, which are determined from different sources, limits and criteria, and a means of knowledge. Now, the discussion of this falls within the jurisdictions of epistemologies. This is one of the philosophical studies, branch of studies. Therefore, an important area of the functioning of philosophy of education is related to the theory of knowledge. Yes, please. Education values. As we already know, the values which are determined by desirability of the contemporary situations. These are defined in hierarchical ways, such as we can define ethicals or moral values also, and sociological concerns also. But here, typically, the philosophy of subject, since it is more abstract, integral, and universal philosophy, it has to critically evaluate the values, but also systematize them in a hierarchy. Education values are determined by philosophical values also. Education values are propagated by different philosophers, and we have derived this from their own worlds, views, and their outlook on the purpose of human life. Therefore, scrutiny of the world views, outlooks, beliefs in the specific functions of philosophies, and it's necessary for the philosophical treatment of the values. Next, please. Conclusions. Next.
Okay, coming to the conclusion, from all the topics that previous presenters have presented, we can say that through the study of educational philosophy, one can gain a deep understanding of the fundamental principles and values that guide education. And through educational philosophy, we can also explore certain questions like what is the purpose of school, what is the nature of learning, the role of teachers and students, the relationship between education and society, and also how education can be used to promote social justice and equality. So if one has a deep understanding of the knowledge of educational philosophy, one can develop their own ideas and beliefs of education, and also use this knowledge for their practices as educators or policy makers, and it can also provide a framework for evaluating different approaches to education, and also help individuals to make informed decisions.
Roll number 11,
Yes, sir.
12,
Yes, sir.
13, 14,
Yes, sir.
15, 16,
Yes, sir.
18, 19,
Yes, sir.
20.
Yes, sir.
Here you go.
Everyone, respected sir and my dear colleagues. Here we are group 2 on our assigned topic, meaning concepts of education, difference between old and new concepts of education, current research or modern education, and here are our group members. And here is our contents. To begin with, I will talk about the meaning and concepts of education. May education have a why is it when education is familiar with the on education essential process human development even now we famous first President of South Africa Nelson Mandela education it is the most powerful tool that we can use to change the world. Society change the dynamic process meaning timely ꯈꯪꯕꯁꯦ ꯃꯊꯧ ꯇꯥꯏꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯏꯍꯥꯟ ꯍꯥꯟꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯃꯤꯅꯤꯡꯁꯦ ꯈꯪꯃꯤꯟꯅꯁꯤ ꯑꯍꯥꯟꯕꯗ etymological meaning da etymological meaning da education haiba haise four Latin words tagi derive tawbane ba ahanbada educare to bring up or to nourish secondly educare to draw out or to lead out ahum subada educatum the aim of teaching or training mari subada educo to extract and to lead forth sigi root words myam je kai hangam tam the education haibasina akoi da nourishing oiba environment na provide tawba kai dona na bagi da mak akoi gi full inner potentials myam je draw out tawna na bagi da mak next narrow and broader meaning of education je khamina si narrow amasung broader meaning da narrow meaning da like the education have the part of formal education we get only schooling the confined to broader meaning da the nasagi education je nasagi informal amasung non-formal you amasung other places na go to comprise to meaning second to the narrow meaning da the nasagi duration do am the short oi gani amasung narrow sense da nasagi education jina kai kai impart of the knowledge adu apre exam oriented dam oi ba knowledge am apipa oi na bi ko amasung broader meaning da ko is all round development bi am ke full human potential us develop ta oi next coming to concept अखोगी Indian concept western concept अमसुंग modern concept अमु जे ये हा बता Indian concept यंग मतमदा Indian concept the inner peace दा focus तव है हमने मागी abstract अमसुंग completeness अनि मत base तव अमसुंग value base नि तो one of the famous educationist Indian educationist महात्मा गांधी ने हम the by education are the I mean all round development out of the base in child's body mind and spirit so they have the education je outside the body dagi aware to body dagi mind or afawa mind amala akanda full human ama develop to bone habirame next western concept of education dagi education have is right dagi aware to from outside the body ni aduna one of the famous educationists Plato na have the education is the capacity to feel pressure and pain of the right moment in order to develop perfection see dagi more develop je magi ba kenu da completeness da focus to modern concept of education that is a compilation of Indian and Western concept. Adu tuna say inner and outer perfection and mak say the modern education the shape the one aduga out of these three base form of education je haude modern concept of education aduna NEP 2020 national education 2020 ki matu ina education has a fundamental for achieving full human potential developing an equitable and just society and promoting national development and in short education has the kai han matam da akoi da knowledge piba value piba moral piba amasung habit aduga true human being ama piba ne but next my friend yes my topic will be differences between old and new concepts of education. First we have aims. In the old concept the aim of education was to impart knowledge and it was mostly skills, only knowledge to survive. And in the new concept of education, the aim was the development of total personality and social efficiency. In the new concept, we aim to develop and promote life skills, critical thinking, analytical abilities, etc. And next, we have curriculum. In the old concept of education, the curriculum was subject-centered. It was based on textbook knowledge, whereas in the new concept, it is pupil-centered and activity-centered. Here, activities are provided in lessons to increase learning. And here, in the method of teaching, in the old concept, it was lecture method, and the children learn through rote memorization and repetition. Whereas in the new concept, we have playway method and learning by doing. Where, as you can see in the picture, we have seen the differences. And in discipline, teachers had a final say, and it was enforced on the students. Whereas in the new concept, it was self-discipline. Children are encouraged to learn self-discipline. In the role of teacher, in the old concept, the role of the teacher was an instructor. Their duty was to teach. On the contrary, in the new concept, teachers take different roles such as friend, philosopher, and guide. Teachers are now facilitators of knowledge for the learners. And lastly, we have the role of the student. In the old concept, students were passive listeners. The teaching learning process was a one-way process, whereas now, in the new concept, students have a more active and dynamic role. Teaching learning process has become a multi-way and
where interaction is promoted. There are more interaction and engagement between students and teachers and between among learners also. This is now
silent teachers modern education silent teachers silent teachers of education se mayam lay mayam sigi marakta akoina khangatpa top unique oiba teachers kara bhai haijage ahamada modern education se is resource based. Next, task based or activity based or aduga integrative in nature, learner centered or student centered learning, emphasis on technology, focus on critical thinking. Do ahamada hai is resource based hai. Resource based hai ki knowledge ki hai education se phangre knowledge si magi resource ye koi ojas no oiba mena sath na su knowledge ki resource oira pai ya ba du madu bi anu ko pinse na kanda how by education mathal duni do task based or activity based aduga hiki modern education sida akoina phangri education system mawong si task based oiba task oriented or activity oriented akoina classroom da thang phamaga like to taga phangri education nataba akoina activity ma to matu activity ki phangpa koi knowledge aduna based on education system. The next integrative in nature, integrative in nature have the interlinking of subjects like that, social science and science or humanities or mathematical or physical sciences. Interlink or integrate classroom the branch of education ama katang di ko phang bana ta ulap to gi integration knowledge mo phang ba ta aduga mathang the learner center or student center pasi the second point task based or activity based that interrelated or very like hai ta next emphasis on technology akoina music national may presentation team matanga ICT ga sine bana project sine ro may agency modern program public mobile phone adi akoina PPT seva matam sine ro laptop sine may agency ko bi depending on technology. Next focus on critical thinking aduga akoina modern education da we focus on critical thinking. According to information, we check it, we analyze it. Aduga information go data du ko khang bana taba sinna bana taba madu phane analyze ko ka da akoina societies da real life situation da karam haida akoina based on gani kamaina akoina practice kamaina thokani have akoina phazna nei na kan da critical thinking to da khang kamaina akoina tamba khang ba ita ni next personalized learning, collaborative learning, globalization, life skills, multidisciplinary efforts, inclusive education, flexible and simplified. Personalized learning we have all individual differences. Individual differences modern education individual differences cover awatpa wada ehenba mai to mayam sing pulap ikal gap oiba dumba khalgi ke rong education system ka bhina phangi modern education sida aduga next collaborative learning sisu khagi classroom amada ojaga satra ka tambana taba ojasu satra su management authority or society haita as a whole pulap collaborate oina koi knowledge ko jento mile haita. Next globalization modern education what is happening in and around the world it is a result of globalization. Next life skills modern education life skills next multidisciplinary approach personalized learning individual difference individual only discipline single discipline modern education multidisciplinary approach modern education. Next, inclusive education. Traditional education system like inclusive blind school or person with disabilities handicap program school modern education inclusive education provide Next, flexible and simplified. Traditional mode of education, maybe kita makaya kan conventional yang na kita line of family kita.
So, with this short conclusion, I'm going to conclude our presentation. So we have talked about meaning of education. We have talked about differences between old and new education, and then we have talked about the salient features of modern education. So I'm going to club all of that, and I'm going to say something. So we have seen that our world is changing, our life is changing a lot, and in this changing world, in this changing repetitive world, as a philosophical student, as a philosophical person, we see that this is a big crisis. It's a big crisis and we are not able to handle it. The only way we are able to handle this is through modern education. Okay, so modern education, we have already know what Sir have also said, that we have to do collaborative learning also here. We have to learn the language also. We have to use ICT. All that is part of modern education. So modern education is one of the most specific things that we need to know in this current situation, current education system. That is one thing. And yes. Yeah, so modern education is known to be the best transformation of the education system. It is intentionally inclined towards bringing out the best potential of the students. So when we talk about modern education, it's not just what we learn in our schools, like the subjects that we learn, the subjects like those of science, physics, chemistry, biology. Then we have social science, and that we have history, we have geography. We learn so many academically inclined subjects. It's not that when we talk about modern education. It is much beyond that. We learn about our culture, we learn about our languages, we learn about so many developmental situations like life skills. We learn about critical thinking, how to develop critical thinking, how to make rational decisions, how to how we have to able to stand in our own feet. That is what we learn in modern education. That is what the whole presentation is about, the education system, the old and new, how it's all interrelated, how it's all interlinked. And that's all for our presentation. Thank you all.
Roll number 41.
Yes, sir.
42.
Yes, sir.
43.
Yes, sir.
44. 45. 45. 46. 47.
Yes, sir.
48.
Yes, sir.
49. 50. 45. What about 45? Okay, photo session. Orang tharak kadam riko photo do.
Hello, ma'am. Please attention. Good afternoon to all.
Keep quiet, keep quiet.
Good afternoon to all respected sir and my fellow friends who are listening. Yes, today we the group 5 presenting the topic how the philosophy constructs the different components of education and relationship between philosophy and education. These are the topic that we are going to discuss. So before going to the topic directly, we have to see about what is philosophy and what is education. These are the main things that we have to know. So what is philosophy? Firstly, we have to discuss. Philosophy is a discipline that is concerned with fundamental questions about existence, reality, knowledge, values and ethics. Aduna, yes, philosophy is a kind of discipline that we learn in the one higher education about what it deals with, what existence, why we watch, how existence is there, why we exist, why human beings can exist, why and how. These are the things that we are going to discuss in philosophy. Next is about the reality, about the real occurrence of this nature and natural phenomena that we are going to learn about these laws of nature. And then we are about the knowledge, how knowledge is available, what are the sources, and how we can get it, and how we can deal with knowledge, how knowledge is available. We are all going to deal with this philosophy. And then values, what kind of values, maybe what physical values, maybe mental values, all the values that we are going to acquire from our society. And then we are about the what ethics, the way of one minds of dealing This all about ethics, and this all existence, reality, knowledge, values, and ethics, they are all comprises about this philosophy that we are going to learn in this higher education. Next, the study of philosophy helps students to develop both their capacity and their inclination to do critical thinking. So comparing all those disciplines, when we deal about the philosophy, the students can develop their own minds to deepen their knowledge, to think what broad sense in their what knowledge, and then they can develop their own skills, also help in fulfilling this function. But philosophy contributes distinctively, intensively, and extensively to a student's ability to think critically. Yes, we have different kind of disciplines, but comparing to all these disciplines, we have what philosophy have what another way of what fulfilling areas to achieve. These are all, number one, distinctively. We can what differentiate between the objects and what is this object and what this object is about. We can what differentiate between what object that we can what see and we can see it. Next is about what intensively. Then how we can what concentrate on the one ideas, focus on that. How we can develop our mind in that one particular things that we can develop our mind. And then what about extensively? How we can watch. Suppose in what in geography, how we can watch how we can cultivate our large agriculture farming in a wide area. Then how we can produce many things about that. That's extensively. The students' ability to think critically. These all things will what develop in their students' mind and then develop their mind in a broader sense of area. Yes. Next slide, sir. And then, yes, education is the process, and we have to know about education also when we want to think about philosophy and education. So, education is the process of receiving or giving systematic instruction, especially at a school or university. Let's say we can example about the teaching learning process, about the students and the one teacher, then one teacher and the student interaction, about the receiving knowledge, and then what teaching is all about. That's all what comprises in what education. That's all about what this education, and we can famous quotes the definition from Mahatma Gandhi. It's the what's growing out of the base from the what child and the what man. That is about body, mind, and spirit. That's what all-round development that we can build by the what students. And then what Swami Vivekananda said about what is the manifestation of what divine perfection which is already existing in man. So we can what take out the innate potentials from what the child have that we can deal with. It's about what education is all dealt with. Yes, next is. So we have different components of education. We have different components of education that we are going to deal with. Here we are going to deal with 4 components. First is about the what epistemology and what knowledge acquisition. Next slide. Yes, we are going to deal with the 4 components. The first one is what epistemology and knowledge acquisition. Number 2, ethics and moral education. Number 3 is what metaphysics and curriculum design. And number 4 is what, and that we are going to what discuss, and how these components of education developed by the theories of philosophy that we are going to deal with. Yes, we have first one is what epistemology and knowledge acquisition. So epistemology deals with the nature and limits of knowledge. So this one is the first branch of what philosophy, that is called epistemology. It deals with the what nature and the limits of knowledge. It deals with what various occurrence of the nature, how what organism deals with how nature occurrence. Say suppose when we deal about the term gravitation, what we have to take out 2 objects, and we are discussing about what force of interaction between the 2 objects. Then we are dealing with the what nature and the what limits of knowledge, how knowledge is valid, that we are what dealing here. And then what it influences how we think about how knowledge is acquired, the source of knowledge, and what constitutes valid knowledge. And this branch of philosophy deals with how knowledge is acquired, how we can get knowledge, and how and where we can get knowledge, how we can get acquired, and then source of knowledge, how knowledge is available, how we can get the sources of knowledge by the students, and then what constitutes the valid knowledge. Suppose example, the sun rising in the east. This is a what valid knowledge. So we have to what this is valid and this is not valid. Then we can what develop by this branch of philosophy. Yes. Yes. And then these philosophical ideas inform how we think about educational methods such as experiential learning, inquiry-based learning, and problem-based learning. Say we have what three methods here. What that we are saying here. Experiential learning. By the what the person's in experience, the one is learning. Hai tareko. By the man experience what the child is learning, and then what inquiry-based learning. That is by what asking high level of questioning and what learning. This kind of is called what inquiry-based learning, and what problem-based learning. Hai the group share maga group si lagi topic ama piraga hai keno sing my problems in say so tonan the maka what they am the mon no what we are dealing with the what problems based solving hai this sort of never hai this singing my am sing say what singing educational we can also say method sing say what by the theories of philosophy we can what solve it. This is the yes next.
Second component na ibig na mapuno na si ethics and moral education. Ethics na question of right and wrong, good and evil, moral duty. Achu mana karino, aran mana karino, apa mana karino, pata mana karino hasilnya. So I see that ethics ka moral education kasi tungan-tungan na bagi mahuta pun nampak na bayang. Right na bagi behavior na magi puksil sengba, puksil sangba, minusikangba, responsible lagi. Tuda mo na oja makagna magi classroom na sanga kanda dekong phamki kana tabo wai liraga dilya na sa bagi mahuta ko gi oja classroom na sanga ga man matam le na sa gi khalaga su ngam da larita da thuki kanda madu professional ethics da achun bani ahan bagi na professional ethics da lali happy question na makaglay next step okay next metaphysics and curriculum design hybrid sida metaphysics hybrid si ko na deals with the nature of reality and existence. Asimba uri by pena materialistic wants to uri process sing. Amad lay the higher guy pena kangaba beyond the reality sumba bayam sing seen in a specific metaphysical side. To them an example naman ng live to picture of the ay pena religion na both sin lay high adagi science na high no both si kadai no have a kanadi tasing na both si proof bibiya bagi kuda verify to diyate adu scientifically magi tuan pa evidence mayam ko to diya sumba metaphysics ki mayam sing curriculum da kadai phaw sumi angang singda achum mana kadai no aran mana kadai no asing mana karam mano reality si karam mano have mayam sing si curriculum da hapa matam da education purpose da mahiroi singda makogi leiriba leijariba knowledge dagi hena paksana uri ba khangi ba do khak nataba madagi hena experience da uba khangbi jai nasina agona philosophy education ne nabda yamna mak important oi haibasi ena tandari si matang is that si radira samu
Rather everyone got ame mukhe yang ngasi gato se pagi philosophy of mind and learning I got theory sige se ai philosophy and like no have se M.Ed tambo ko sang tamda ai kisu kagam de ko na playing ne salam je sir kano ke tam sir ki class da aham bai da sir ki MI2 wala po se machine thi daga class da 32 33 jaw hai sir sumaine thi daga ne ne aduga ai mamang wai da phamame sum maka sum da thalaga last second me se ta ge mumi che da sir na what is thinking ne hange thinking ne hango da ai khomangam gi de ngam gi da se ke wakhan khan bo si kane khale yum cha laga ye khalu re 사는 사 thinking 아이로 보세 가만히 사는 모티베이터 오기게도 아이 월이가 이제는 사기 시계 리벤 오는 거 해제게 봐. 그러나 아이고 사는 사는 게 thinking 직가이노 아두가 learning 직까지 가나를 이노 하면서 시다 오고 담도 사다 이거 사이 사는 한 게도 용찬나가 간다로 내가 되는 거. 아두가 간다로 또 내가 되는 거. करीगिदा मक्तनो why करीगिनो खोजे लाइक तब लाइजे इमे तब लाइजे कईगिदा मक्तनो मैं एटेनेंस का किना ते कोबे एटेनेंस की तो लाख में भी आविदा एटेनेंस की किदा मक्तना ते कोने इमे तब लाइजे सर टॉपिक क्लास ता कोने तमिबा कि आज की ओयो कोगी बाय गोस पेबा आदि तमिबा क्लास लाइजे कोने क्लास फमिसि इमे तो कई मरम गिनो हाइबदा सी कोने सर हाइजे थाबी की कोने मदर ऑफ ऑल नॉलेज हाइजे अहान दे खंगम दे लेंग दे ला मिजे अदुगा सिगी केनो से ला आगांदा अतोप रेलेवेंस हाइगदा को अतोप सब्जेक्ट में आंदा सर तो मने ताइ से केनो सर को लगी रिसर्च methodology ताइ हाइदु से कोई केनो न हाइदु न हाइदु कोते छात्र मोइने सको देन लो कोइना छात्र ता को मतंदा कमाइना
ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯅꯣꯂꯦꯖꯁꯦ ꯀꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯃꯣꯏꯅ ꯏꯝꯄꯥꯔꯠ ꯇꯧꯒꯗꯒꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯦ ꯂꯣꯏꯅꯃꯛ ꯐꯤꯂꯣꯁꯣꯐꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯁꯕꯖꯦꯛꯁꯦ ꯁꯤꯗꯒꯤꯅꯤ ꯃꯥꯏꯟ ꯑꯃꯁꯨꯡ ꯂꯔꯅꯤꯡ ꯊꯤꯑꯣꯔꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯦ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯐꯤꯂꯣꯁꯣꯐꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯟꯑꯦꯛꯁꯄ꯭ꯂꯣꯔꯅꯦ ꯑꯩꯉꯣꯟꯗꯗꯤꯀꯣ ꯁꯥꯏꯟꯁ ꯕꯦꯛꯒ꯭ꯔꯥꯎꯟꯗꯩ ꯂꯥꯛꯑꯦ ꯑꯗꯨ ꯑꯣꯏꯇꯥꯔꯒꯁꯨ ꯑꯦꯕꯁꯇ꯭ꯔꯦꯛ ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯁꯕꯖꯦꯛꯇꯤꯚ ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯅꯣꯂꯦꯖ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯦ ꯁꯥꯔꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯗ ꯄꯤꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯑꯇꯣꯞꯄ ꯁꯕꯖꯦꯛ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯍꯥꯏꯒꯗ꯭ꯔꯥꯀꯣ ꯑꯇꯣꯞꯄ ꯂꯔꯅꯤꯡ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯋꯥꯈꯜꯂꯣꯟ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯗꯣ ꯏꯚꯟ ꯁꯣꯀ꯭ꯔꯦꯇꯤꯁꯅ ꯍꯪꯂꯝꯕ ꯀꯣꯏꯁꯟ ꯍꯪꯉꯒ ꯑꯆꯨꯝꯕꯁꯦ ꯄꯨꯊꯣꯛꯑꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯅꯔꯝꯃꯤꯗꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯕ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯗꯣ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯑꯇꯣꯞꯄ ꯄꯦꯗꯥꯒꯣꯖꯤꯀꯦꯜ ꯗꯦꯟ ꯑꯇꯣꯞꯄ ꯂꯔꯅꯤꯡ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯦ ꯁꯕꯖꯦꯛꯁꯤꯡꯁꯤꯗ ꯄꯥꯟꯁꯤꯜꯂꯒꯀꯣ ꯏꯂꯥꯏ ꯂꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯕ ꯌꯥꯅꯤ ꯅꯦꯛꯁꯇ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯃꯇꯥꯡꯗ ꯀꯟꯀ꯭ꯂꯨꯖꯟ ꯃꯆꯥ ꯑꯃ ꯄꯤꯖꯒꯦꯀꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯁꯥꯔ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯀ꯭ꯂꯥꯁꯁꯦ ꯌꯥꯎꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ ꯐꯤꯂꯣꯁꯣꯐꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯁꯦ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯈꯪꯉꯝꯗ ꯇꯥꯔꯒꯁꯨ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯐꯤꯂꯣꯁꯣꯐꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯁꯦ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯑꯦꯕꯁꯇ꯭ꯔꯦꯛ ꯁꯥꯏꯟꯁ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯦꯕꯁꯇ꯭ꯔꯦꯛ ꯅꯣꯂꯦꯖ ꯑꯃꯅꯦꯅ ꯈꯟ ꯇꯥꯔꯒꯁꯨ ꯃꯁꯤ ꯑꯇꯣꯞꯄꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯏꯖꯨꯀꯦꯁꯟꯒꯤ ꯐꯤꯂꯣꯁꯣꯐꯤꯒꯁꯦ ꯃꯔꯤ ꯂꯩꯅꯩ ꯁꯦꯝ ꯁꯥꯏꯠ ꯑꯣꯐ ꯗ ꯀꯣꯏꯟꯅꯤ ꯏꯖꯨꯀꯦꯁꯟꯁꯤꯅ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯑꯣꯏꯇꯥꯔꯒꯗꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯐꯤꯂꯣꯁꯣꯐꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯁꯦ ꯁꯤꯗ ꯃꯥꯗꯔ ꯑꯣꯐ ꯅꯣꯂꯦꯖ ꯂꯩꯔꯦ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯑꯦꯄ꯭ꯂꯥꯏ ꯇꯧꯐꯝꯁꯦ ꯏꯖꯨꯀꯦꯁꯟꯗꯅꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯁꯦ ꯁꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯒ ꯑꯩ ꯀꯟꯀ꯭ꯂꯨꯖꯟ ꯃꯈꯥ ꯂꯣꯏꯁꯤꯜꯂꯒꯦꯗꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯃꯈꯥꯒꯤ ꯇꯥꯕ ꯇꯤꯝꯃꯦꯠꯁꯤꯡꯗ ꯁꯤꯟꯅꯖꯒꯦ
As a continuous presentation right now, present together kaino hai kanda haina relationship between education and philosophy hence you got and like you got ai right side ta philosophy thamge ko ai left side ta education thamge ba hoina philosophy hai kanda kok ta kai la hai kanda realism thore ko existence thore knowledge thore natraga language thore mind thore adumaina hoina left side ta education hai kanda hoina kai thore kanda hoina narrow definition like academic schooling from pre-nursery to higher education thore hujik hujik tamiba C3 फाउ द तमनो दरसे कइनो अदुबो कइनो है कंदा एजुकेशन है नथाइने नता अदुना अनि से पुंचिन लगा बदि येमु कांदा अहोइना करिकुलम नत्रगा अहोइना प्लानिंग पॉलिसी इंप्लीमेंटेशन तोरिबा नत्रगा अहोइना लिडरशिप मता होइबा असि मयाम से कइनो है कंदा philosophical abstract ideas mयाम से in the form of manifestation हाइडी concrete form दा अहोइना education दा उबु फंगिने को अदुना अहोइना everyday life दा अहोइना नुकी हुजिक after presentation होय खजितन नि केनोमा लर्न तोगनी इस इज a kind of education which is based on philosophical ideas तो को next slide please अदुना अहोइना हाइबा मगो हाइबा से केनो हाइबा गाना education and philosophy are very closely related they are very inseparable it is also very often said that faces of the two same point hai nei ko aduna si hai se hai taradi akoina khudam pi se khudam se manga pi se ko aham da akoina philosophy na aham ba khudam pi se kaino philosophy na ne lambi direction philosophy na education ki lambi se pi hai ba ko kai kam kan pi hai ba for example na akoina education hai bi sai survey member miyam sai bi according knowledge learning hai bi do akoina ke normal learn to ni hai kanda afaba learn to yai fataba learn to yai adu kai gumba fataba learn to so adum learn to go ni afaba learn to so afaba learn to ni aduna kaino akoina afaba learn to ngai kari darka le kanda philosophical ideas hana asimba truth oiramba poto for example la aina hege ko anga mama di namakta pesa buran laga layen bu kaino deontology gi wakhal don di lande ba magi wakhal de aduga but consequentialism di maise kesbai de hai ba sigmo myam si kaino hoina philosophy da tambe aduga hoi gi child center hanadi teaching center oirem ko hoi se child center oirse kaino education se is like a laboratory for philosophy hai se kaino hai banda oirem ba next slide please ani subla hai ya ani subla kaino philosophy hai se apoina sandokda propagation tawda education itself hai ke ba perennialism hai se kaino hai banda perennialism na hai se kaino man hai se truth oiba pot sahi kya oirasu written oiramba missing oirasu sigum se tatnagadamni adum hai se perennialism hai ne adu khudum oina hai ke ba hoina academic schooling se puji angang si hoina common sense hai se kaina hada puji ti academic schooling karan de ai job already business education academic schooling se kai mang ya de ra hai kada
because of philosophical ideas of parallelism na adna education na support tawne simai na education na parallelism support tawne na atop pamyam theories na education itself support tawa. Thank you.
Between education and philosophy continuation hoina all great philosophers of the world have also been great educators haiba. Educators, philosophers and educators are we ama khatana philosophers so be educators so be haibadi education ga philosophy ga thematic mari lai lai educate philosopher oirambaduna educationist oirapasu yaweba samna haibada Plato, Rousseau, Buddha, Rabindranath Tagore, Gandhi, John Dewey lairiko ado Plato ki philosophy ki matungina Plato na haibadi matungina Plato na education magi philosophy ki matungina samana haiba happiness and well-being are the highest moral conduct and haiba sigi moral conduct se phangna ba kida skill do good conduct and pursue the lawa haiba haibadi kari gumba koina thabak thawong ama phajana tawraba matungda moral adugi pursue duna maram oidina moral value do la eba aduna Plato na piramba asigi philosophical view do ko koina education da apply tawraba matungda hena students in the impart tawraga afaba moral value ma purakko ngam thiba aduga Rousseau ki naturalism magi naturalism the base tawe magi philosophy ki matungina men are born free and independent haiba miba sing se free oina aduga independent oina hingala ni haiba aduga magi Socrates magi secrets of society the so how the government should the government should act the government should act in terms of afaba way the responsive oina kamaina people in the responsible or the government or the habisi mana taeba adugumba forms of government ko khune education da tungana subject ama oina tawraga tamaga angang sinda even akhina hojik satnariba form of education de karam form of education no aduga karam different types of government ki khena ba kana na important ba philosophy no haido adugi matang do khunjaleba aduga Tagore so idealism ni ma se idealist oi spiritualist oi ma se naturalist oi ma se all round oi haitare aduga Gandhi ki so khoi hena khange ma di truth non violence and sutara adugi truth non violence tu na ko tools ama oi na ki kenogi akoi keno da so freedom struggle ki matam da so adugo apply tawraga akhina freedom hungam khiga adugo mayam ki wari sin impart tawraga adum education to palaga angang sinda hena khabaronda purako sudum determine all the broad aspects of education haiba aduna curriculum the teaching method role of the teacher and the issues and discipline haibadi philosophy na curriculum the kari mana could hinjan ba yabage haiba kanda curriculum da koina different types of curriculum lege karama makhani curriculum mu karama makhanda apply tawga sana ka dege haiba se philosophy na road map tawkanda plan tawkanda adu ko implement tawgada or apply tawgada sina educators na oega adumai tawna teaching method disu open teaching method various types of teaching methods da science center aduga student center zero student center laire net tragana content center ko egara teacher center ko egara adugi do faidagi sanaba method of teaching to karamba makhani method of teaching to palaga apply tawraga kamaina karamba da chana gadage hajagadage or magi by product of hagadage habese philosophy na loina ma dot net tawraga ta aga lebanina philosophy and education de same faces of the two faces of the same coin habese summe habidi amana ama ko interrelated or dependent ko nei ama yaudagadi ama do hazuna effective or no more same
अखोई ग्रुप की प्रेजेंटेशन से अखोई सब टॉपिक अनी में हाउ फिलोसॉफी कंस्ट्रक्ट कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ एजुकेशन हाइवा रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन फिलोसॉफी एंड एजुकेशन हाइवा अखोई branches of philosophy so there are many branches of philosophy and mainly we deal with philosophy of metaphysics, epistemology and ethics and logic. In this philosophical education and philosophy, educational philosophy da mainly deal tawriba branches of philosophy si makoi simsini adu koi gi education da magi aims and objectives of education mase koi gi philosophy na determine tawakadoi nasai gi presenter mayam na so haibi gi ba koi gi naturalism gi school of philosophy na magi nature da thoi ba realities in si based on maroi science subjects in si gi aims and objectives sipirakadoni adu idealism school of philosophy na masai thoughts and ideas and many theories abstract over quotes in social science ki kari busy lakadoni adu what is right, what is wrong and what is good haiba masi ki moral and ethics ki way basina koi axiology ki ethics ki aesthetics ki laiba branch of philosophy sina magi aim jille pakadoni aduna sam haijar ka the curriculum or curriculum adagi akhoi gi teaching method hamadi teaching learning process ta laiba process mayam se masida su philosophy na magi theories in se determine tawgadori bani aduga nasagi akhoi gi magi agency mayam hadi education se da koi sang se agency mayam sangi ali institute mayam sangi adigi so many administrators, planners, policy makers as well as our society all these agencies which are involving in the process of education must have this knowledge of philosophy and the philosophy should guide all these people involving in the process of education asima hamjaninge ahanbaki part sida aduga ani subagi relationship between this philosophy and education haibasida side presenters in the haibi ki bado asidais da koina puthoka yabase buji akhoi practice the thoi kanjida when we study or when we learn philosophy as a subject in an institute philosophy is a part of education and when we are talking about this role of philosophy in the field of education then philosophy is we are looking into the wider perspective of philosophy because philosophy determines all the theoretical aspects of education and whereas education is the practical side and philosophy is the theory side so akoina yengba yabase akoina school da college da natraga university da any institute of the philosophy tamagadi philosophy se education gi part amu eraga subject amu eraga dine aduga education philosophy gi khanara kandana philosophy sina amu education gi pot mayam atai subject mayam ji gi magi aim object curriculum mayam se determine tawakadine adu akogi Rene Descartes na hairam body mind dualism haidana body the mind the set tongan ba pot anira dichotomy ra haina naina ba matamda ase closely related way haina ba adumain tawdana philosophy and education is not a dichotomy is not a dualism it is closely related so that is why David Rose described philosophy and education as the two faces of the same coin that's all
ni mang ni ko mang ni ma pisa
ni mang
philosophy hai word se aman bata Pythagoras hanna sisina khane aduga philosophy hai se kisna te da exam jamba sarnaga am I true kana hai basa sar hai se kari dino kana ga khali base philosophy ne aduga ai ni ba kusi se ai ni hingi se kari no ai ni hingi se kari to no jmana ka khali se si philosophy aduga Plato ki matung na de philosophy aims at a knowledge of the eternal nature of things philosophy से की meaning थी मैम ने अभी दासु अभी कहते हैं कि etymological meaning दा etymological meaning है बती history and origin है बनी माँ second word है कि डॉक्टर अपने Greek word philos means love and sophia means wisdom pula love of wisdom haibane aduga ani sura specific meaning of philosophy that it is a deep thinking and meditation to God aduga ahum subada magi wider meaning the logistic thinking and solving of different methods of philosophical problem haibane aduga philosophy ka education में से यामना मरी लेने मोय अनि रोज की मधुनी नदी philosophy का education में से two phases of same coin haibane aduga philosophy haibisina theory ni aduga education sina magi practical ne philosophy akoina tamibu me asina theory ne ba aduga akoina season implement obisina education ne ba philosophy without education without philosophy is blind and philosophy without education is incomplete.
So among them are the first scientists. Okay, the first scientists and the first scientists of Western history. They are Thales, Heraclitus, and Parmenides. So they believe they are concerned with the natural world and they are concerned with the human knowledge and human relationship with the gods. So these are the pre-Socrates time. Okay, and he's the first philosopher Thales. And then coming to the Socrates time, the Socrates, who is the Socrates is the teacher of Plato, and he's also considered as the father of philosophy. So Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, they expanded the discipline of philosophy, and not only that, the thoughts on logic, ethics, poetry, myth, politics, physics, and metaphysics are designed. And then their play continued, and it was systematized and by the Stoic, Epicurean, and skeptical thinkers. And among them, because of the systematized, after that, they played a prominent role because of the Stoic, Epicurean, and skeptical thinkers. They played a prominent role, and the figures are, some of the important figures are Marcus Aurelius, Plotinus, Porphyry, and it also really influenced the church leaders, the early church leaders, namely Saint Augustine. And these are the pictures. This is Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. That's it. Thank you.
Mathindra is purpose of philosophy. Purpose of philosophy da koi na na gadol ba samsung gadol ba area se har philosophy sina mana tarai conception da ke magi destination karino magi aims karino magi goals karino har usi matang da koi na purpose of philosophy da na gani and point da purpose of philosophy inculcates the habits of the creative and the critical thinking. Har ba philosophy ki matyam da hi ai koi na gadol ba ma se intellectual angalakani ai koi ki cognitive angalakani ai koi ki thought angalakani koi na deep thinking angalakani ai koi ki divergent thinking ai koi ki analytical thinking aduga koi na convergent thinking asina singba se angalakani. Matang da philosophy yields all round development. Har ba philosophy sina gadol ba ai koi ki all aspect of development hai ba di koi ki physical development aduga cognitive development ai koi ki moral development, spiritual development aduga aesthetic development asina singba se angalakani. Aina example kam pijage ai sagi pedagogy se physics ni adu bai se physics khang khanga ga yaroi aina physics se khang hai da makta ai maths hai da yaroi ai chemistry hai da yaroi ai language hai da yaroi hai bodi aina kai no matam da language discipline ang ta khanga ga yaroi. Next point, the philosophy help us to understand the others in our fellow men. How the philosophy is going on? Naina badagi ai sa se karino ai se better understanding ko ngamani ato pasu understand to ngamani aduga harba philosophy naina badagi ai koina gods khangani harba gods ki magi activities magi attributes amasung ai koga environments da lai ba pot magi magi process results amasung principle asina sing basa ko na khangani. Next point, the philosophy determines
determines the ways and the values of life. Our philosophy say when na ina pada ki ai when na ka wa mi amagi magi significance, meanings, magi value, magi finalities of the human life se when na kang magambani philosophy enhances a person problem solving capacities. Ai when na philosophy say na ina pada ki ai when na ka wa analyze to bunga makani ai when na maduri concept magi definition ai when na argue to bunga makani when na problem solving to bunga makani ai philosophy say when na ina pada ki ka wa ai when na organize to bunga makani amasung issue amasung idea sing say when na ka wa well defined when na sequence na ai when na analyze to bunga makani philosophy guides in the process of education. Harba philosophy na kadoba aigoi education ki all aspect of education aigoi kaino aigoi educational aims curriculum aigoi teaching methods students teacher asina singba se koida develop ongani philosophy yields a search for truth. Harba philosophy se koina laina bada ki aigoi na reality hasi karino amasong magi truth love goals sing se koina mege experience ki human experience ki koina tangba ngani.
Philosophy yields new ideas. It helps us to formulate new ideas and also search for relevant data. Philosophy enhances self-confidence. It increases our self-confidence. Example like switching from I cannot do this to I can do this. General solving problems, communication skills, writing skills. One can express themselves from philosophy like communicating with others and also express themselves and giving their point of view through writing. Philosophy inculcates the habits of thinking. This also enhances our ability of thinking and increases our habits of thinking and look at things in a bigger perspective and from different perspectives. The method of philosophy should have method of philosophy and he should have speculative method of philosophy and critical method of philosophy. The method of normative method of philosophy. Normative method of philosophy refers to norm, standard, goals and principles. Normative method of philosophy refers to problem explain analyze inquiry specific study what should be and what ought to be normative method of philosophy specific study and Plato's the Republic books ideal state ideal state and ideal state goal norms standard normative method of philosophy through the Republic books explain educational view education different stages of learning different learning goals norms normative method of philosophy through
everyone, my topic for today is a speculative method of philosophy. I'll just give a situation or example here to understand this better. Because when we say speculation, the word itself means we don't know what actually it is, so we have to speculate. For a very good example would be, we are all prisoners of time. Even young, old, women, men, child, we cannot escape time. So do we really know what time is? Can anyone define what time is? So when you look at, when you can check Google, you will find several definitions. From science background, from physics background, we define time as a dimension. A dimension means, say, suppose you are inviting your friend to meet somewhere. You always mention time, right? You cannot just mention the place. You have to mention the time according to that. So it is treated as a dimension. You can find several definitions of time. So such kind of concepts which we don't know how we can give a concrete evidence. So we can use this speculative method. Here it says it involves imagining possibilities and exploring their implications. It often involves hypothetical claims and entities such as alternate universes. One interesting more thing is, what if there is one same universe like us? It would be interesting whether will be your other doppelganger will be there in that universe. What he might be doing? He might not be studying M.Ed there. I don't know. So, like, there's lots of possibilities. So, philosophy is a subject which is very quite interesting to me also. Like, before, my background is physics, but before I was applying for M.Ed, I only used to follow like Instagram pages, philosophy posts, those things. It used to intrigue me a lot. Now, when I come here, I get to learn this from sir, and it's I feel like we have a lot to learn, like from content-wise and from philosophical-wise, about the existence of reality. And it's often contrasted with analytical philosophy. I like to contrast between these two types of philosophy. Analytical philosophy means, suppose a philosopher wants to know what actually is happiness, the concept of happiness. When can you say that you are happy? So like a philosopher, he can create conditions like if he's satisfied, he's content with his life, like his positive emotions. Now, based on those conditions, we can create empirical experiments and all across different sections of society. Then he can come to conclusion. But speculative philosophy is not like that. Thought experiments are a common tool in speculative philosophy, where we can do thought experiments. One more interesting example is about Albert Einstein. You know Albert Einstein, right? Everyone is a very common, popular physicist. Now, in time, he invented a theory called special theory of relativity, to which, according to that theory, he says that time is what? Not absolute. Suppose when a girl says, "I will just take 5 minutes to get ready," what does it mean? For the one waiting, does it really take 5 minutes? So it feels like a very long time has passed, right? So time is relative. So all those concepts can be held meaningfully, like to some extent we can try to learn with the help of speculative philosophy. But learning never ends. Next.
Presenter has talked about speculating and asking questions. In this method of philosophy, critical method of philosophy, is about making judgments here. Whether, like, when we say making judgments, we're not just saying that something is always right and something is always wrong. Something that may be right now may also be wrong in another instance. So the main, so to say, father of this critical method of philosophy is attributed to Immanuel Kant, and it's etymologically taken from Greek word kritike, which means the art of judgment, which we have just discussed now. And then the primary task of this philosophy is just to see philosophy as criticism. And when we say criticism, we take it in a very light way, and we think of it in a very negative sense. But when we say criticism, it's not just about being right or being negative or positive. It just takes both sides of something when we take into consideration. The main purpose and aim of this philosophy is just to reach a certain goals of truth, whether something is right or whether something can be functional and put into real life use, and then whether it is rational or not. And then there are so many methods being used and utilized in this method of philosophy. It is formal, informal, logic, linguistics, and it may even be historical and textual uses. So, just to sum it up, critical method of philosophy is just not evaluating deductively, but it's the presenters that we have listened, and from the above slides of different methods of philosophy, we can thus understand now that philosophy of education helps in understanding the nature and the purpose of education, and not only that, it helps the individual to inculcate in him or in her the habits of creative and critical thinking. And from the different philosophers, great philosophers, from their studies, we have come to know that philosophy also helps in exploring the questions about self, about reality, and about knowledge. So as a whole, I would like to sum up our presentation that philosophy helps in bring out an all-round development of an individual, and not only that, it also helps in determining the ways and the values of life. Thank you so much.
Roll number 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. All are present.
Smile, smile.
dear teachers,
Education is drawing out the best of a person. It is a lifelong process that transforms individuals, societies, and nations. So it starts from the birth and ends till death. So during this process of education, a person values and lifestyles. Its way of thinking is changed through education and the philosophies that it received from the education. So education, it is a very well planned activity and it has a clear-cut goals. So and education is said to be beneficial only if it has clear-cut goals. And education without clear-cut goals is cannot be considered beneficial. So in this system called education, there are different stakeholders which comprises of the schools, authorities, institutions, students, teachers that plays a big role in forming this education system, and through this education system, so knowledge are transmitted from one to another, and a person will become productive, and that will lead to progressive change in the society, in the individual and to the nation. So the stakeholders, they are considered as the heart of the education system, as they create the conditions for the children to thrive in the future. And while educating a person, a learner, we need educators. So these educators, they must be very much knowledgeable. They should have positive attitude towards this teaching profession, and they must possess the ability to hold the attention of the young and dynamic minds, because they are the future pillars of the society. Therefore, educators, they are considered as a
on the topic of education as a process. Right, that is. First, understand the simple meaning of process in education. Process is nothing but it's a set of actions or steps to be taken in order to achieve a goal. And education, it is a process which it is a process to acquire skills, knowledge, values from different forms of learning. And yeah, after listening the meaning of process, the true meaning of process in education, we have come to a conclusion that there is a relationship between education and a process. So the relationship between education and a process arises from there. And yes, education as a process is understanding of the world and stuff like that. Some of the features of education in relation to a process are it's a next slide please. Active and dynamic process, and it is also intentional and unintentional process. Active process, let us talk about the education as an active process. For example, we are still learning. You and I are still learning. This is a very evidence of education as an active process. It's a lifelong process, and although please don't mind, but our Sir Ratan is also still learning, like considering the age gap and all. And also, we also heard from our teacher also, they're still learning while they're teaching us, right? So that is a very example of active process of education. And dynamic process of education. Yes, we utilize our experience in learning new things. Also, we reconstruct new things from the things that we have already learned. And then we also continuously learn through various experiences by substituting all knowledge with new knowledge. And then next is the intentional and the unintentional process. So intentional process could be, an example of intentional process would be like an individual or a student of MBBS who have been studying an MBBS course. He is bound to become a doctor after studying the course, right? So that is a goal-oriented process. So this is an intentional process. And on the other hand, unintentional process could be, it's a, how do I say, we learn one culture from another coming into this class from school, the brain function of school. So, like we also heard from other sociologists like M.Ed that school is a tool for socialization. We came here and we are culturalized, and then we learn other cultures from our friends. That is like not properly oriented, right? It's not goal oriented. So it is unintentionally we learn the process while socializing with other friends. So overall, the main aims of education as a process is that it tries to promote personal and social development, and it also enhance employability, and also it fosters lifelong learning. So the next presentation will
The topic education as a purpose. When we say purpose, I mean the aim and goal of doing something or doing it. Education as a purpose. Of course, if we say 30, 40, what is the aim of our education? Maybe I'll get different answers from where to mix up with the International Agency, US Department of Education, purpose of education, to promote student achievement, student achievement and global competitiveness. When they say global competitiveness, global citizen global competitive world global citizen achieve by fostering educational excellence ensure quality education. Then coming to our nation, national education policy, let us 2020 the high basic education higher good human being rational thought reason amagi po tanate action just learn like the power action compassion empathy courage resilience difficulty situation resilient creative mind with a sound ethical values I think group number 5 ethical values what is right, what is wrong citizens inclusive and a plural society unity in diversity society plural society citizen focus literate society learning society literate society degree focus pass learning change of behavior change learning my behavior change society learn society overall general knowledge values higher social values values society see see values values society we need to update change and gender equality gender social construct education in all spheres of life, whether it be social, economic, political, futuristic goal and discrimination, very important point. Throughout the year, history geography, education discrimination we all are one kind. Even in our constitution, Article 15 prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, caste, sex, place of birth, discriminate purpose of education inculcate impart purpose of education
Where I will be telling about education as a system. As we all know, a system is interlinking network education as a system translate activities through large network and execution here the stakeholder means the individual groups that have a say in the decision making stakeholder two major types like the administration they focus on the resource utilization administration the government concerned minister education concerned minister Ministry of Education concerned officials administration policy making and the curriculum framing number 2 managing of the staffs management head of the institution teachers office staff education execution organizing and distribution of the work according to Burton Clark
Professor Emeritus of the University of California said, society, social environment, culture, religion, economic status, political ideology, they are all closely related, linked with the education. Aduga factors determine the effectiveness of the education system. Apoi education system the combine effectiveness lehelakani hairadi apoina effective policy making by the administrators na apoina policy making se fajana tarokta bataragadi apoina school na to institution se salaiba fajana salaiba apoina aduga not only in policy making se na apoina curriculum making se accurate oina tawraga angang gaise hena productive ko hen bada gar matai aduga mathang dara proper and the balanced work distribution by the head of the institution there. Head of the institution of proper and the balanced work se be pragati apoy school se this management amale kami samna apda apoy principal na apoy oda ga ije classes amana na jendre oda amda class tara am chale oda amda class ko compare ba tu oda me am chi man the university grade taropaya edu tuga ngai na grade taropaya mathang dara commitment of the teachers and not only to the students that they mamana commitment like doise मानो प्रोफेसर तो कमिटमेंट लेके दबने बा अपन मसाई अपन की मयाम हमने हाई भी करे गांधी ना हाई में एजुकेशन हाई में देखो कि drawing out the best in a man and in mind body then मतलब मयाम ना हाई भी करे सीधे drawing out the best कनारा तरों का ना ये टीचर्स का की हेल्प की मत तुम्हें ना तरों के लिए बात ना कमिटमेंट ऑफ द टीचर्स से जम दरकार था है बा अदू का टीचर्स से अपन सेकंड पेरेंट्स ने तो हाईलाइट किया तो ना टीचर्स की कमिटमेंट हम दरकार था है तो कमिटमेंट of his staff. Commitment of his staff से देखो teacher खत्म में commit करोगे याद है बा teaching staff of his staff में हम जो मोई commitment दरकार था है मोई की educational qualification जो खत्म रहने होता है active involvement of the parents जो होगा अपने parents से कहीं अपने की first teacher ने हाई रखा है first teacher अपने parents में हमसे involve करोगा अपने की छात्र का इसका खत्म तो फिर अगर छात्र के कदम में performance में करेगा 1998 का whole में तो बिना experiment हमारी मतलब इतना कहीं छात्र के पेरेंट्स ने इन्वॉल्व तो पेरेंट्स ने हाई मतलब मैंने एटीट्यूड ऑफ द स्टूडेंट है अपने पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड ऑफ द स्टूडेंट लाइक दरकार है मतलब इतना दी अपने एजुकेशन सिस्टम से इफेक्टिव होएगा मतलब मैंने सोसाइटल इन्वॉल्वमेंट मुझे अपने सोसाइटल इन्वॉल्वमेंट से अपने की any 2020 the suyare itu juga ram sapa dengan orang yang tahu the suyare kayak mana itu micro planning the focus of the micro planning kan ini kayak apa ni community se involved orang kamu ini resource orang kamu ini mating bangga apa je छात्र के इसलिए mating bangga छात्र की effectiveness yang kalau ini अपनी kalau di kayak education system itu excellent juga kalau hari ini
I know the higher topics na education as a profession ba profession has simple definition among tadi profession is a occupation or an activity that one has expertise in a particular area or job ba adu education se kamai karoga profession or no koi ma haibasa adu se criteria kara pi ko se like criteria manga se first point hai that organize body of knowledge and continuous updating of one's knowledge one have to be education से profession हमारे लोग हैं as a teacher have the continuous development like that have a market knowledge है time to time develop तो भी करते हैं have a constant होने like they आगे dynamic process हम होने like that have a it should serve as a great social purpose मागी purpose teacher से मागी purpose है कि हम like great society का दी कई ना है बिना मजा हम हो इतादी मानो social change में आपसे पूरा करते हैं ना मागी purpose है कि हम like हमने next formal period of preparation and a requirement for continuous growth and development. I am this hygiene to the university. Continuous period of preparation have been preparation have been course in according to the B.Ed, M.Ed, and formal period appointed by a couple of mama. Aduga continuous have been stagnant or the labor yard of a change so we did not have it. Next, degree of autonomy. Teacher to autonomy से भी वो कॉपी इन्हें है बिना माइनस है कि freedom तो भी बा to lead in a positive way मार्के अनाम तो भी interest aptitude area तभी माइ अपाम बा field में चलने बा बिना मत अनाम तो lead तो भी गया उन्हें है by degree of autonomy भी वो and next teacher as a profession है जैसे को education is a profession से is a high status yang na awam status अमोई ना सुन गार्ड तो उन्हें dignity next
professional includes education sina mana labor jaga administrator or education as professors, counselors, as a guardians or as a teacher. They can inspire and motivate the students for life and save the society to a better world. As a guidance or it is the only essential profession that makes all other professions go. See pictures na I said see the teacher in ek to ganya ko ba to pa ma'am professions ya ma'am na so hainai ko the teaching is a mother of all professions I hainai adna oza mo tari oza tai profession ma'am do oza aduna ma na guide to video ne the profession of teaching is one of the noblest profession. When the school regard may have a profession say a noble profession as we love teaching, that's why we are coming here to pursue M.Ed. See how you learning education education as a purpose system profession so now education has that even specific subject area knowledge part of attitudes, habits, behaviors, positively change develop holistic development of the individuals and education successful education human life incomplete learning, painful learning, hopeless learning. Education has become an inseparable part of human life.
I will tell you some of the points that I find here. All of you having the personalities of presentations. You have skills of PowerPoint presentations. Most of the PowerPoint presentations are really wonderful. Not only the wordings, picture also theirs. It's a really interesting PowerPoint preparations. And not only that, you have a skills of collection of data as far as a topic assigned to you. So I'm really happy for these wonderful informations. Wait, I will tell you other points also. And not only that, I find the wonderful boys also here. I find wonderful boys who will be convincing teachings. I find not only the convincings, but is very louder and good to listen. And I think you will not have problems during your internship. I have a confidence that you will not have problems during the internship programs while you are teaching the B.Ed trainees of the other B.Ed colleges. Right. This is what I find here. And I will not tell the negative points. I will tell only the positive points. And most of you have deeper knowledge. Most of you have deeper knowledge on the topic assigned to you, right? That is the content area. You have a clarity of content area. I'm really proud of you. And this is nothing but this example of the confidence teachings. I find. And shall we exist our life without our parents? So parent is what? What is the role of the parents? Parent is philosophy. Am I right? Parents makes many children. Parents is philosophy make many subjects. So philosophy is the mother of all subjects. So like the parents, we cannot live without the parents because everything is designed by the parents. So parents is philosophy and children are educations.
children are providing a lot of activities in order to have peace and progress and tranquility in that family also, at the level of family, at the level of the community and societies also, right? We cannot do nothing against the parents, but some children are there who are doing against the parents is they forget the parents because they don't have the ideas of philosophies, right? And all the papers are so good for exam purposes. Please hear one to another. It could be termed as preparations, paper preparation for final exams as well as pre-final also. Okay, and by knowing these philosophy subjects, most of you have agreed that philosophy gives us all-round development. Am I right? If we have all-round development, and we will face all the problems, whatever any problem we will face. Some of you may have background in physics, even though he needs even the philosophy also. Knowing the philosophy is nothing but knowing whole the subject. Am I right? Yes. Okay. So children, the parents knows the nature of all their children. We can know the nature of children by studying the different children. But the simplest way to know all the children is nothing but simplest way to talk about parents. Parents knows everything, the nature of their children. Chumbra mama ampa na mai macha sing chen masak loina khangeba. Ado angang mayam sing alag hangudraga su kedo ima ipa da direct hangba kanda kan kari no haibsi am laina khangganeba. Two ways are there. Knowing the philosophy is nothing but knowing all the subjects. This is one approach. And knowing all the subjects lead to knowing the philosophy. This is a second approach. Okay, so I think yes. Now there's many cinemas also coming based on times. I do agree that time is dimensions. Okay, we depend on time and therefore we meet together. Let us meet tomorrow by 9 a.m. example. On the basis of time we will come here. Time and place. Right. So time is a dimension relating with all things. Is there anything which is not related with times? You have a watch on your hands, you're counting the times. While we're constructing the houses also, building also, while we're calculating our lifespans also, everything is time. Time is wonderful. Okay. And another, I find that the quality of judgments, that is critical thinking, critical methods of critical thinking leads the judgment. The people of these days have they have a lackness as far as judgments. What is the importance of judgments? Can we live without a judgment? And therefore we have so many issues are there at a family level, societal level, even at the international level also. And therefore we have courts, lower courts, high courts, Supreme Court, international courts are there. All the issues will be resolved through judgmental method, that is critical method. We should be very careful in order to overcome all the problems, because critical method is a method through which we can solve any kind of problems. Now last point is, I'm really proud of all the M.Ed students of this first year batch, because everybody is wonderful. So I'm really happy because you are not getting enough time to express your opinion, your thoughts. But today you are getting enough time to express your thoughts, and therefore you may be very happy. Wa ngang da basin nungai tiba. Sum uzana sum ngang le ga arna sum ngang le nungai tiba. Natrane. Noi su wa ngang ga tin nungai ram gane ba ko. So kedoba, our main purpose is what? The preparation of future teacher educators. Natrane. Aduna ngang bat siem saba PowerPoint curriculum mi loina bo haiba mayam sing sina. I think you will have a bright future. Wish you all the best, everyone.